Hey everyone, I'm Romeo Pot from Accretion Digital, your marketing people, your virtual marketing department, your marketing company. Welcome to our interview series where we take the spotlight off of us and put it on aspiring business owners. In each episode, you'll learn about their business, their journey, their customers, their unique differences, and how you can connect with them. So let's jump right in with Angela Carlson from Carlson's Financial Consulting. To start, how did you get started with your business? What sparked this journey, Angela?
The short answer of what sparked my journey is a near-death experience. I have had my entire adult career has been in the financial background, but in September 2019, I had been sick about 2.5 years, and due to a medical misdiagnosis, I was in organ shutdown and septic. Couldn't
Wow.
eat or drink anything for 5.5 days. Thankfully, surgery was very simple, saved my life. I'm totally okay today. But let me tell you, when you lay there for 5.5 days, you have no desire to drink, no desire to eat, no desire to look at a phone or do anything. Your brain goes to some very dark places. And one of the dark places was, Angie, you knew you could have helped all these people and you were too chicken to go for it. And I was like, that's an interesting thought. And I was like, if I survive this, there's no more chicken. We're going to figure it out and go for it. So that's what I did.
How long ago was that?
September 2019, so about 5.5 years ago. And it still took me a year to figure out how to start. And I've been in business now for 4 years.
I can only imagine that. Definitely, it's almost like I have to do this, right? It's very much
Mhm.
driven to for you to really have like a moment of self-reflection, right? To really take it serious. So, I mean, I see that that's where you started, and then since then, like like what's been your milestones, if that makes sense? Like, so like right after you
Correct.
realized that you wanted to start this, where did you go from there? Like, what was your first step?
My first step was really researching what I wanted to do because I knew I wanted to stay in the financial space. I knew I wanted something that wasn't near as regulated. And so that led me into financial coaching. So I really love helping people. I love helping with behavior. I love seeing lives change. And so I was like, okay, financial coaching is where I want to go. And then it was, do I need a certification and doing all this research? And so then I got my certification at the end of 2020 through financial coach master training, and then opened my practice January 2021 while working my day job. Decided after making $320 as a coach in 16 months to leave that day job to pursue coaching full time. And I am now a six-figure coaching business.
That's really awesome. Now, you said 2021. You know, not to bring this up, but did the pandemic at all affect anything for you getting that off the ground?
I had decided before the pandemic to do this because I made the decision in September 2019. I think the pandemic delayed things a little bit because my day job was in federal student aid and colleges were shutting down and the aid system had never done that. So if anything, that delayed it a little bit because I had to, still have my day job, my responsibilities, navigating people through that. But at the same time, I was like, this isn't going to be forever. It's just a speed bump. We're going to get there. But I knew April 2022 was going to be when I left my job because I told them I would stay for 10 years, and that's when my 10 years was up. And I wanted to keep my word. So I knew the
I
end
was
date
gonna
of
say,
leaving wasn't going to change. It just took me a little bit longer to get the business where I wanted to get it. But that's okay. It all worked out.
yeah, well, I was gonna say I'm really happy that you stayed committed to it because a lot of people, the pandemic, right? It was that plus, like really wanting to do it, right? Some people, they lose the motivation, or like because of that, it changed their plans, and they said, you know what, maybe I'll try next year, and then next year becomes 10 years later, and you never got started. So I'm really happy for you. Now, all right, let's talk a little bit about. So you told me so far about your business, right? How you got started and things like that. But like now, tell me about like the people you help. Like, who do you help the most? Like, what kind of people or businesses benefit from Angie?
Yeah. So I really thrive working with couples who want to break free from all the money rules because they want to start enjoying their wealth without the guilt. Because when we get into a relationship with somebody else, they come in with very different experiences than what we have. And the challenging part with couples is I can have conversations in my head all day long and they make total sense to me and I'm really content with them. Me trying to put those into words to tell my spouse what I'm thinking so that he fully understands, that was a challenge for me for the longest period of time because you know what? His mind reading skills really suck. Mine for him do too. And so we really had to start talking about, like, we would throw around a phrase, bad with money. And I would take it from a household I came from, like, we wasted 20 bucks. Who cares? The household he came from, that meant his mom was filing for divorce. And so we
Mm,
were using things that were like, that we thought we were communicating clearly and we weren't. And so really working with couples on, okay, what are you trying to say? What do you mean when you say that? Like, you both say that you want to travel. You don't want to get to retirement and find out travel to one of you is a yacht and travel to the other one of you is third world fishing trips, because you're going to be very disappointed with your spouse's version of travel after you've done the work. And so I really go in and help couples. Okay, where do you both want your relationship to go? What are the challenges to get there? What priorities do we need to meet? What does the plan need to look like? Because there's important things in your plan that need to stay, like your kids' private school, medical, health. Those things don't leave the plan because you're not going to follow the plans they do. How do we navigate life happening? Because somebody's going to die, there's going to be a health scare, there's going to be a job change. Because when we can learn to do all these things at once successfully, we're going to have money. It's shocking. And then you need to know how to have a team, because as your wealth grows, you're not going to be able to rely on Google, your friends, or whatever you're doing. You need people who are in those worlds that can help you save tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on stuff that you just don't know to ask. And so we really build the whole plan start to finish with me helping you get the professionals you need along the way as your coach.
and you know what? I think it really helps too that this is something from work experience. You know, you can actually say that I had to do this on my own. I've had my own journey, and now I'm at a certain place where this is work for your spouse. Um, so I think that's really awesome that you're actually somebody from that background, because honestly, a lot of times, people will just kind of figure something out and go on trying to sell a service or offer someone help, but they haven't figured it out themselves yet. So I think that's pretty awesome that you do that. Same thing with us, right? So like an example, we're a marketing company. We're basically done a lot of trial and error over the years, right? And we see a lot of beginner mistakes. So we can avoid people having that issue, right? On doing the same mistake over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? A lot of times we'll run into people who say, I just started a business. I know we need to market ourselves. I don't know where to start. So we have like a basically almost a pretty good boilerplate, right, on where everyone to start. Now, when you think about your customers, right, if there's somebody that really comes to mind, and maybe you don't have to say the name, but like a scenario, right, that you've helped solve, right? It could be a couple, it could be family
Mm-hmm.
friend, but for sure somebody that, right, that Carlson Financial Coaching has turned their life around. I should say. Is there one story that
Yeah.
comes to mind or one scenario?
Yeah, there is. I worked with a couple where they had been debating about whether to replace the roof on their house for 7 years. Yes, 7 years. It was a big
Okay.
house. The roof was like double the size. It was going to be quite the expense. And so they kept putting it off. And they met with me because this roof was getting to be such a source of tension in their relationship, because they couldn't go on vacation without worrying about it. If it rained, it was, a catastrophe. And all these things. And so I always do a no cost conversation, because I want to make sure I'm taking on a couple who's the right fit. I want them to know that I'm the person to help them. And in that conversation, I was able to show them, like, hey, by delaying fixing this roof, you've already spent over 50% of what you would have needed to fix the roof on all these little side repairs that were coming from it. Because, if water came in, you have to patch the ceiling. Well, you're going to have to keep repatching the ceiling because you're not replacing the roof. And so I was like showing them, I'm like, this decision's already cost you 7 years of stress in your relationship, half or possibly all of the cost of the roof you've already spent. And we still don't even have the problem fixed.
Where do you think people go wrong on? Because when you explain it like this, it's very clear that your answer was the obvious answer, right? Like this should have been common sense, right? But I know coming from again, you have a background in finance. To you, it's simple. To you, it's like, what? How did you guys miss this, right? How did you guys like, add the numbers wrong? Where do you think people go wrong? Is it like that they think they have more time? Like what? In your experience so far, why did it take them 7 years?
Well, I'm going to disagree with a little bit about what you said, because every time they looked at the repair, they were like, look at the individual repair compared to the cost of the roof. So if you have like $1,000 repair and a $60,000 roof cost, you're going to spend $1,000. And you keep making that decision over and over and over again, but you never go back and add up all those $1,000 bills.
Of course, of
And
course.
so that was, I don't want to say the error in the process, because if I wouldn't call it an error, it wasn't something that they didn't think of. And so it was just upgrading to be like, hey, we can look at it this way. And this is also another reason that we're amplifying the tension, because when we have a big, scary problem to fix, we tend to avoid it. That's human nature, no matter who you are. We don't want to take on something big and scary. But if we take on small parts of it, we feel good. We feel like we're doing something to fix the problem. But that bigger problem is just getting bigger and bigger under the surface. And so when we worked together over 6 months, not only did we get the roof done, it was 100% paid for. They love it. Now they're paying off the rest of their debt. They're planning their honeymoon trip, or not honeymoon trip, anniversary trip. And they're getting their life back. Like, they can go on these trips now and not be worried about the weather at home. Like, their quality of life has gone up by working with me, and because they went through this experience and I was able to show them just a couple of different ways to look at it. Nothing major. It is major to them. Let me take that back. It is major, but just showing people the different ways that they can look at their situation can be really powerful, because that's a great decision-making tool that they're going to use the rest of their lives. And now they can take that and use it from the roof to apply it to all these other situations that come up. And this couple, they talked about their money. They have had some major financial wins. Like, they have done such a good job, but this is just that one hurdle that just kept them stuck. And people have that on the journey too, that you just hit that thing. It's kind of like coming up against a brick wall, and it's like, how do I get through this brick wall? And that's where my service can really help with that.
So I was going to say, so then back to kind of, I guess, summarize it. So this, at first in the beginning, because it looked so much cheaper to fix, the quick issue, right? They weren't, I'm assuming, like you said, if it was $1,000 to fix it, they didn't assume that they were going to have to do it 49 more times. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
that at the beginning.
You.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't ever think about, when you get to time 20 or 25, maybe I need to go back and look at all these other things that I've done. Because in the moment it's so stressful, you're trying to put out this problem, you're trying to put out that problem, and in the moment you just want that immediate problem to go away. So you make the immediate problem go away. But so the thought process makes total sense, but when you're in it, it's so hard to see it. This is why I personally get coached, because I am not great at seeing my stuff when I'm in it either. So everyone can benefit from having a coach helping you point this stuff out, because in the moment of trying to make these decisions, having someone in your corner who can see things very differently than you can be a money-saving move. And this couple, they made their money back many times over just in the 6 months we've worked together. That's not counting the return on investment they're getting for the rest of their marriage.
I like that. Even though you're in finance, I really appreciate how you see certain things that still have a lot of value that aren't necessarily money. But yeah, that's totally true. That's something, I guess, people don't consider when they realize, like, there's more peace and harmony now because the finances are balanced now. Now money is not a talk, like a fight or a stress. Now it's also gives you back that time and that balance that you're looking for in your life. So Angie, I'm learning. I'm sorry, I'm calling you Angie. Should be called Angela. Sorry, unless Angie's
Those
okay.
are fine.
Too.
Yeah,
Those
okay.
are fine? Awesome. So I was gonna say, so so now I hear what you do. I hear who you do it for, and I'm slowly starting to learn, right, your approach and how you conduct business, right? How people get help from you. But I guess I would like to formally ask, right? Like, so what would you say sets you apart differently than other people in your field, or like, how do you feel like you're doing things differently?
I love that question. And I would say one of the biggest things that sets me out in my field, I don't start with the budget. I start with the end in mind. So when we program a GPS, we need to know where we're driving to. And I live in Dubuque, Iowa. If I want to drive to Nashville, Tennessee, I know it's about 10 hours. But if I didn't know Tennessee existed and I didn't know Nashville was, I could be like, let me go to Miami and see if it's on the path. And then take, not see it on the path. And then go to Seattle, to New York, to LA, to Nashville, which is what most people are doing with their money because they don't have the end in mind. They're taking the scenic route, which you want the scenic route, totally cool. However, when you have someone who helps you define the end in mind, now you have a GPS you can program to get there faster, saving you years of time, tens, hundreds, thousands of dollars, and lots of stress. And so that's why I start with, where do we want to go? Because we can have the best budget in the world, but if we hate our life, we've done the budget for the wrong reason. We can have all these great goals, but if they're not our goals and they're the goals of our in-laws or goals that we think that we want to have our kids have, but they're not goals that we like, you're going to be miserable. Life's too short to be this miserable when it comes to your money. So define where you want to go, unapologetically own it, and then build your plan. And don't do it in any different order. And I would say that's what has me stand out in the industry.
You know what? And you're right. I think we can all, I think anyone watching this, right, could agree to that. Like a lot of times you make a goal, but it's like based off of these other variables. I mean, and you're right. I like how you mentioned about the kids, because I met people, right, who have kids. They decide to move to a different state or to another town. It's more expensive. It's out of their budget, but it's for like, because they feel like their kids will have the best opportunity in life or stuff like that. And then sometimes, the kids grow up, right? And I have older friends who their kids are, my age or older, and like, they're like, yeah, they're like, the first thing I did when I turned 18 is moved out of the city, or moved to the city. So it's funny, right? How that goes is like, they thought they're raising their kids for this, and then the kids are like, I don't want this, I'm gone, moving out to Los Angeles, leaving Chicago or something, right away.
Right.
But yeah, so now, obviously, I hope people do, look you up and, look for reviews, testimonies, and things like that. But right, if you can give us a surface level, right, what are some of the things that you feel like your customers tend to say about you? Like if we were to ask somebody.
Yeah, I mean, they tend to say like, Angie, you've changed my life. You've changed our relationship. We now know where our money goes. You're the best investment we've ever made. And those tend to be things that I hear over and over again because their life has transformed so much. They're able to make cross-country moves that they want, that they weren't doing because they had debt. They were able to feel comfortable with a high net worth and not worry about the judgment or being the bank or whatever comes up, because they're confident in who they are. Their relationship has improved. And most of my couples, the ROI relationship means a lot more to them than the money, because they're just like, I feel like I have my marriage back. I mean, and a bank account to match how great I want my marriage to be too.
I understand. Now, so like I was gonna say, so now before I ask, how people can reach out to you and stuff like that, right? Usually this is a really important question for people too. Like, what does the process look like, right? Let's say somebody decided to start working with you tomorrow, right? What would that process kind of look like? You don't have to give me the whole like onboarding questionnaire, right? But what does that look like?
Yeah, so what that looks like is we start with a no-cost conversation with me for 45 minutes. So when you book that call, you'll receive a guide to just prepare you for the call, let you know what to expect, some questions for you and your spouse to go over to evaluate before you spend your time on the call. Am I really the right person to help you? And if I'm not, no worries, cancel the call. If you are, then we'll proceed with the call, discuss what it would look like to work together. I'll make a proposal, and then we'll go ahead and get started on our journey together.
Okay. All right. Well, Angie, I don't want to take any more time from you. I want to, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. Now, to all those listening, if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to follow us for upcoming interviews. And if you need marketing people or financial help, you can talk to Angie. Now, Angie, real quick, last thing then. So how can people get in touch with you? How can people reach you? Where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, and the handle is @FinanceCoachAC. You can also email me at Angie@CarlsonFinancialCoaching.com. And if you're in the US or Canada, you can call or text me at area code 563-278-3766.
Last thing, do you have a piece of advice for anybody today, something that they can use today, this week, this month, at the end of the year? Do you have a piece of advice for everyone watching this?
Yes. Whatever financial mistakes that you have made, you're human. We all have made them. It doesn't matter how many zeros you've had. It doesn't matter how big of a deal you think it is. It doesn't matter what you think you've lost. It's done and it's happened. Don't carry that into 2025, and let 2025 be a year of miracles. Don't let it be a repeat of a year of the past. Let's make this year you win.
Agreed. All right. Thank you so much, Angie. We'll be in touch. And I really hope that you like the time talking with me. I enjoyed talking with you. And I'm
Thank you.
looking forward to putting this up and showing you your audience.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angie.